So I've had a lot of people ask me how much money they would need to invest in order to start selling on Amazon. And I've heard answers ranging from $1,000 to $100,000. And the truth is, you can start selling on Amazon for $1,000, but what is that going to get you? Not much. In order to start selling properly, especially in today's competitive market, where you have to really do a good job, and there's a lot of things you need to take into account before you start. And today I'm going to break down exactly how much you would need to start, and I'm going to give you 2 product examples, and I will tell you step by step what I would be looking for, and how much would I need to invest on images, on a video, on copywriting, and everything you need, including inventory. I've also noticed that a lot of people are apprehensive to spend maybe $20, $30, $40, or $50,000 on their Amazon business. But if you look at a regular business that you're going to start, $100,000 to invest to start a physical business isn't like a huge amount. So I don't think you should look at an Amazon business any differently. It's a business and it would require capital in order to start. So the relatively smaller parts of the Amazon business that you're gonna have to spend is selling fees, which is $40 a month, and then you got samples, and samples would vary depending on how many manufacturers you're gonna get samples from, and the size of and the size and the price of the product. So if the size of the product is relatively big and you want to use express shipping so you can look at the sample as soon as you can, so you can make a decision, samples could range between $100 to even $200 or $300 depending on the size of the product. And if you want to get, let's say, 3 samples from 3 different manufacturers, that could already get up to $600 or $800 just for samples. And product quality is super important, so I wouldn't only get a sample from one manufacturer. So samples can range between $200 to $300 to over $1,000. The second thing you would need is good quality images, and also editing those images and maybe adding infographics. And I see a lot of people saving money in this part of the business, and that's the worst thing you can do, because your salesperson on Amazon is your Amazon listing, and it needs to look the best that you can possibly make it look. The better you will look, the higher conversion rate you would get, and that would lead to more sales, and it would lead to better ranking, and it's a snowball effect. If you save on that part of the business, your whole conversion rates aren't going to be great, and you're just not going to take off. So I'll give you an example of how much I spent on images and image editing alone. I spend around $1,500 for, I have a company that does everything from images, and then they will do the image editing and infographics and Photoshop, and they charge around $1,500. So that's a big pay. I see a lot of people doing it on Fiverr or taking images on their own, and you are saving, but it's going to cost you so much down the line. Your business can literally fail just because you've decided to save $1,000. So I would put aside $1,500 for your images and infographics. The next part of the business is copywriting. And copywriting, I don't think it's as important as your images, but it is definitely important to make a good quality listing. So the first thing a person would look at when he gets into a listing is your images. But if he's not convinced, he's going to go into the copywriting, and he's also going to read your copy to get some information that he's looking for that your images don't really portray clearly. So you need to make it super high quality. You need to also use a professional. Don't do it on your own. Don't save that money. I have the company I use for my copywriting, they charge for a complete listing, and they would also give me a plan of what images I should take and what's going to be written down on each image, and they charge about $600 for the whole thing. So I would set aside another $500 to $600 for your copywriting. The next thing you need, and that's something not everybody does, but it would definitely give you an advantage, is a video. So a video is gonna help people make a purchasing decision. People love seeing the product in action and seeing what it would actually look like. You can also use it for your PPC campaigns, which is very helpful because the bids on video might not be as high because not everybody, there isn't that much competition for those clicks, because there's not every listing has video, and every listing would bid on keywords, on normal PPC keywords. But for video, you can get pretty good PPC prices for certain keywords, and it would give you an advantage, and you could have really low ACoS, especially if you do it really well. And there are two types of videos that I make depending on the product. One of them is a render of the product, so it's like a 3D render, and then I got a guy that does it. He does a render of the product, and then he shows it from different angles, and then he has text with all of the benefits of the product, and that cost me around $1,500 for a 16-second video. And I have another company that actually hires an actor, and they help me with the script, and then they actually film the product in action, and they also charge $1,500 to $2,000, which is fairly cheap for the quality of videos that they make. So I would set aside, again, $1,500 to maybe even $3,000 for the video. The next thing you need to set aside money for, and people don't always take that into consideration, is your launch. So do you want to do giveaways? If you do, that's going to cost you money. Do you want to do maybe influencer marketing or PPC on Facebook and Instagram or Google? So all of that costs money, and you would also need money for PPC. But PPC would be taken down from the profits that you generate from your sales. But still, launches can be fairly expensive. It depends on if you want to do giveaways and how much you're going to be giving away, and the price of your product. So that can range from $1,000 to even up to $10,000 in some cases. But that's probably not going to be you guys starting out. But you don't even have to do giveaways and ads outside of Amazon. I've done most of my launches with PPC alone. So it depends on you, but if you do want to do giveaways and ads outside of Amazon, you got to take that into consideration. So the last thing you need to take into account is obviously your inventory and the shipping of your product to Amazon warehouses. So that obviously depends on the product, how much it costs, and the size of the product, and even the season that you decide to ship on. So if you ship in Q4, prices are going to be way more expensive. If you ship in these times during COVID, prices have gone up drastically. So 5, 6, even 7 times more than what they usually are before COVID. So now we're going to go over to the computer, and I'm going to show you step by step how I would look at 2 example products that I'm going to pick, and I'm going to break everything down up until the inventory and the shipping to Amazon, and we're going to get a better idea on how much it would cost to launch either of these products if you guys decide to launch similar products. Okay, so the first product we're going to look at is this memory foam bed wedge. So the first thing that we need to figure out is how many units I would need to order. So in order to figure this out, we would need to come up with an amount we are planning to sell each month. So let's look at the market itself, and I just want to have a look at the average amount people are selling every month. So there are a lot of sellers that are selling over 1,000 of them a month. So let's say that in the first couple of months we are planning on selling 500 a month. So this product is fairly big. It wouldn't be smart shipping it via air, because that's going to be very expensive. So we would probably look at shipping it by sea, and that can take between a month to a month and a half. So we want to take that into account. So let's say this product would take 2 to 3 weeks to manufacture, and then another month and a half to get to Amazon. So that's 2 months in total. So 2 months before we run out of inventory, we would need to make another order. And we are probably not going to see the money from the first order come in before we would need to restock. So if we want to ship, if we want to sell 500 units a month, we would probably need to order 1,000. Or if we don't order 1,000 straight away, we would at least need to have enough money um, waiting to make the second order before we run out of stock, because running out of stock is one of the worst things that can happen in an Amazon business, because when you launch, you push yourself up in search results, and if you don't sell, if you stop selling because you're out of stock, you would go down and your launch would literally be wasted. So let's go and look at some manufacturers for this. So this guy is selling it for about let's say $14 before shipping. um, there's a lot of sellers that are selling it in a set. So if you want to look at these, we would probably need to contact the supplier and ask them how much they would charge for 1,000 units of this part alone. But for the sake of the video, let's just say it would cost us $10 before shipping, and it would cost us another $4 to $5 for shipping. So let's say this product, DDP, uh, shipping directly to Amazon would cost us $15 each. So that would be 1,000 units. We would only need to order 500 to begin with, but we would need another enough money for another 500 units, just so we're safe for the second order. And times 15, that's $15,000 for inventory for the first couple of months. So let's just say that the inventory is $15,000. Let's say we would get samples from 3 manufacturers, and it's going to cost us 150 each. So that's 450. Copywriting, let's go with the higher end options, because I would not I would not save any money on your listing. Your listing is your salesperson, and you need a good salesperson in order to sell online. So let's say $600 for copywriting, 1,500 for images. This is a pretty simple product. Shouldn't be more than $1,500 for the video. And the launch varies. You don't have to do giveaways. I don't really do a lot of giveaways. I mainly use PPC and sometimes Facebook and Instagram ads. So let's say, just for the sake of this, that we decided to spend $1,000 just to help PPC launch. Push our ranking up. So let's say how much we would need just to launch this product for the first few months. 450 plus 15,000 plus 600. So 18,565 just for the first few months. And after that, after this initial investment, you will be able to restock from the money that you make from the business. So this is probably why you would need to launch this product just straight up before you start selling. Okay, so for the second product, I'm taking this product as an example. By the way, this is not a suggestion to sell this product. This is just random products that I've picked. And this one has quite a bit of variation, so you would need to take that into account, and you'd probably need to get a certain amount of each. There are ways to look at what's selling more, at least get an estimation on what variation sells the most. So you would probably need to look into that if you want to sell products with a lot of variations. But let's just look at the market and see how much people are selling these. So some of the sellers are selling 5,000 of these a month, um, and even 8,000 in some cases. But let's say we are expecting to sell about 1,000 of these a month. So just for the sake of this calculation, so 1,000 of these a month, and I found this guy that is selling 1,000 for $1.88. And let's say we've contacted this supplier and we got a shipping quote for 80 cents each. So 1.88 plus 80 cents, that's 2.68 times 2,000, because again we want to have enough money to order a second batch before we run out of inventory on Amazon, and so we don't run out of stock. So that's 5,360. 5,360. And let's samples would be cheaper here because it's a much smaller product. So let's say we spend $300 on samples, it could even be less. I wouldn't change any of the other prices. We want to get really high quality professionals to do the listing. So let's see what we come up with. 300. So for this product, it would cost us about $10,000 to start selling it on Amazon, and then again we would be able to use the money we made from the sales, and we'll be able to order more units from that money and start rolling the business. Um, that is assuming the product goes well as expected, because there are some times when the launch isn't that successful and everything becomes slower, and you might even need to put in a bit extra money just to get the business rolling. Maybe you need to put more on ads outside of Amazon, or even within Amazon, to start pushing everything forward. So that's assuming everything went perfect. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you got a better understanding of how much money you would need to spend on Amazon in order to start selling. Obviously, you can start with 1,000, but what is that going to get you? That's barely going to get you a few units, let alone it's not going to get you good copywriting, good images. And there was a time on Amazon when you was able to sell a lot from an average listing and barely spend any money, but today everything is so much more competitive, and you really need to have a great quality listing in order to sell and sell well. So I would say you would probably need, for a fairly cheap product that you're not planning to sell a lot of, you'd probably need at least $7,000 to $8,000 to start selling on Amazon. And if you go for the high-end products, it could even be up to 50, 60, or 100,000. So I hope you guys found this video helpful and it gave you a better understanding of what you need to do. If you like this video and you want to learn more about selling on Amazon and selling online in general, subscribe to my channel, and I'm going to be posting a lot more content like this. And if you have any questions about launches and selling online and on Amazon, just write it down in the comments and I would gladly help. So hopefully you find this helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.